All right. Welcome back to the gallery. So let's check.
Okay.
All
Why
right.
are we neglecting Chloe, though? She's been nothing but helpful.
Hold on, Shiroi. Let's check out Gavin's.
Gavin.
Let's see. Maybe they can explain here. So Gavin is a detective in the Detroit Police Department, ambitious and unapologetically arrogant. He has garnered the hatred of his colleagues in record time. Ruthlessly ambitious, Reed will do anything to advance his career, even if it means treading on other people's toes. He's hostile to Lieutenant Anderson is common knowledge. So basically,
So nothing we didn't already know
there's
about
no.
this.
So the game is literally just telling us there's nothing about this guy. He's just an asshole. Enjoy.
Universe is considered. Still makes him annoying, though. That's
Here's
the problem.
Here's the thing, though. Why not show that? Just telling us.
I don't even know.
Well, I think that Pedro. I think we all know the answer why. Bad writing.
Yeah.
Come on. You're a David Cates veteran. You should know the answer to this.
Jova,
exam.
honestly, Jova, at this point, I'm starting to get tired of David's shit. It's just so, like...
I'm not surprised, honestly.
Okay, see, here's the thing, Jova. I think the main reason...
it's this chapter.
I think the big reason why I'm so frustrated is because despite the fact that the rest of the gaming industry made so many strides in storytelling, and yet David is still partying like it's 2005, and yet
I know, right?
and yet nobody calls him out on it aside from maybe me. And I'm getting so tired of fighting against the tides.
Actually, Pedro, a lot of people call him out on that stuff.
Ugh.
That said, though, I'm sort of with you on the sense that I'm frustrated by the fact that that his games apparently still sell well enough. Like, I get that a lot of people do it for irony's sake, but it's like, man, it feels like they're a bit addicted to it. Also, you know what I mean? It must have been nice for you when, Beyond Two Souls didn't sell near as much as Heavy Rain, seeing as how Beyond Two Souls is the epitome of people realizing, hey, this guy's writing kind of sucks.
That's why the marketing
I mean a lot.
That's why the marketing of this game focused so much on showing you how many choices there are to ensure people. No. This time we're not going to repeat the mistakes of Beyond. We swear.
We promise.
I take consolation in the fact that that's probably the only reason this game sold that well. Because let's be honest, from what I've seen, nobody's really going out of their way to praise the writing of this game. If anything, the only thing I've seen really get consistently praised is the amount of choices. And yes, that is somewhat remarkable for a game. But like many things that eventually wore out, and nowadays I see nothing but scorn for this game. So I just take consolation in the fact that it's not like it's gotten to the point where he's like supposedly this god, except for maybe among a cult following. And a cult.
No shit.
Cove filing.
Whoop.
So where are we even for it to be snowing?
In the middle of nowhere. Luther said that we need to reach a house that he has heard of that can help.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're going to Canada.
Canada.
I wonder, what's the point of even calling this Detroit Becoming Human if portions of this game don't even take place in Detroit?
Like I've already theorized, Jova.
Actually, I have a question, Jova. Because geography of the USA is a bit, out of my reach for the moment. How far is Detroit from the border?
Oh, it's down there quite a bit. Let's see. Detroit from Canada's border is about... I don't know. You tell me. You're the supposed
Neither
to
of them is a mechanical android, so they have not been programmed for this.
Admittedly, Detroit does have the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel, which does lead into certain Canadian provinces.
Wow, this is
technically they're close to said border.
This is the most depressing episode of Top Gear I've ever seen.
Alright, so let's see if we can find shelter.
Oh well.
Tonight, Kara crashes her car into a pole.
You'd think in the future, so you may manage to crack artificial intelligence that is fully sentient, but we still haven't cracked sun and moonlight powered cars.
Not even that. Where are the flying cars? God damn it!
Also, I get it, guys. Car.
What a story, Dweebs.
That's a pun that you were reaching for, and you know it.
Oh, Jover, is it any worse?
Pirates Cove.
Oh!
Look at that, Joe. An amusement park with its pirate
Pirates
theme.
Cove? Wait. They can't be close to Darien Lake.
I'm pretty sure David just called it Pirates Cove as in generic amusement park that just happens to be pirate themed.
An amusement park in an era of androids, very pirate themed.
Gee, let me
like
guess.
John
There's a bunch of
Boyega.
androids hiding out here, aren't there?
The guy
Not hiding, but there are. Yes, go ahead, Joe. There's.
The guy we live now looks like the guy we live now looks like John Boyega.
All right.
So is Finn gonna come in and save us?
So let me guess. This is going to be the creepy section where it turns out a lot of androids.
Exactly. Although, like I said, David is not good at writing horror, so.
Implying he's good
I
at
don't.
writing theory.
I don't think David is good at anything too.
So let me guess.
But
it
horror
turns
is so easy to get. But David has never managed to crack it. In decently. Even in Indigo Prophecy, Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy, with that section where the female cop has to struggle with her anxiety of being in closed space. It's supposed to be a tense horror sequence, but no.
Sorry, Teo, but David is better at horror. He's better at writing. He's better at directing. He's better at composing. David is just a waste of space. I'm sorry, but that's true.
Just go play Until Dawn. That will fill you in with a similar structure.
I'm aware. It's not.
No, but tell it to the audience. Oh, Jesus.
Let me guess. She's surprised at the older bouts of androids.
No.
Jack Sparrow, what are you doing here?
No, Dwebs. If this was Jack Sparrow, at the very least, would have some modicum of enjoyment, maybe.
Also, Salazar's Revenge. I know that was a bad movie, but was it really that bad? He's reduced to being a fortune teller.
Oh, the local entries have been frozen.
Oh, so
that's not creepy at all.
Well, basically, Jova, androids took amusement park employee jobs.
However, thanks to the cold and lack of maintenance, as you can see, are not exactly in top shape.
Wow, so these people were so terrible that they literally left androids to freeze.
Well, of course, because we're evil, Jova. How many times do I have to tell you this, Jova? Just accept it.
I've not been paying attention since the very
Don't you see, Jova? Just because my smartphone is right next to me, I feel so compelled to just grab and strangle it to death.
Guys,
mine's next to me.
I'm so evil against machines.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, guys, just because you repeat something doesn't make it true. Just saying.
No. Humans are evil, Teo. I mean, didn't you look at Shira and how she abuses her keyboard? You see?
Are you sure it's another cat?
Your keyboard has feelings too, you know. But one day, Shiroi, be careful, Shiroi. One day, your keyboard will become sentient and go after you. Because
we're already past the era of Y2K, so I'm fine.
Never mind that, guys. What about Jova? Every time he comes in, he assaults that poor headset.
I don't really assault it so much as the sound just rebounds.
Yeah.
Excuses, you prick.
Yeah.
No, literally, there's no way for me to assault it unless I'm literally tearing into it.
Yeah, you tell it to the judge.
So, the robot judge, I'm guessing, because only a robot.
Yes, he's called Judge Cage.
Actually, yeah, we haven't checked if the courts of law have.
Jump scare. Let's just wait for that jump scare to come.
Yes.
No, surprisingly no, Java. I guess David can not even include those in his games.
Well, we've already had a few jump scares in this game already.
But even those they were tame.
I got a minute to you. You're happy there's no jump scares, and yet you're.
That's the thing, Waves. Jump scares are low. Sorry, Waves. Let me finish. But because I know what you mean. Jump scares are low common denominator when it comes to horror. You know.
And yet you're criticizing the game for age of EQR cinema. dweebs.
No dweebs, because also Chris Tuckman does that, was just saying. But there's also the fact, dweebs, that in themselves they may not be inherently bad. The problem is that 90% of Hollywood industry, mainly Blumhouse Productions, love to abuse them. Again, it all comes down to the fact that they are a power, in this case, transmitting horror towards the viewer.
Oh, look at that, guys. The USS Iowa went missing.
Again, Joga, it's all part of that subplot with the Cold War between Russia and America that absolutely goes nowhere.
No, guys, don't worry about it. It's safe. We found it next to Vin Diesel.
So there you go, Jova. There you go, Jova. An all-Android band tipped for music prize. But the androids are going to take your job too.
Tipped?
As in, they're going to win a Grammy, most likely. David can't write English. The basic point is... No, he can't tell. Have you heard when he goes into conferences? Here's how he says couch. Coach. Like it's...
At least he doesn't say coach.
See. Okay. For those who know, for the English speakers out there, in most European languages, when you have an O and a U right after each other, usually in most European languages it reads O, which is why David reads the word couch as coach. It's him just using a French.
There's a gun.
David, even though it's an English word, David reads it as if it was French because it's too... the concept of English speaking is too much for David's little brain, so you have to give him some leeway.
I know the Second Amendment, but this is an amusement park. Why the fuck there was a gun on the counter?
I got nothing.
I can't see she on that photo.
That's actually a good point. I've never actually expanded upon this. Allow me. Basically, Teo, this is the Cage-isms. Coach, action sequences. Instead of action sequences, he says sequences. Another one that... what would be the other one? I'm trying to think of another one, but
at least he can pronounce.
Wait, where did that fireplace come from?
Luthor started it.
Yeah.
At least he pronounces emotions correctly, I guess.
Well, the man literally dedicated his entire life to that. Dedicated that entire company to that word, so he better.
Did Alice just teleported?
Yes, too. That's Alice's superpower.
So I have to ask. To what purpose will this serve for the story? Because we get it. The theme park is abandoned.
They need a place to rest for the night.
No. I get that. My message is like, is this going to actually contribute anything to the story? Like, we haven't gotten any character development.
This is
allow me to.
Like the novel chapter. You can technically skip it if you
want. Well, okay. Again, I actually can somewhat understand David's intention, so allow me. Okay, Jova. David is as you're going to see later when we get to the end of this chapter. This chapter is supposed to just be the characters just interacting and bonding with each other, as we're about to see, because Kara is about to tell Alice a bad time story. So the main point of this chapter is to strengthen the character.
Oh, she wants a family.
Exactly, and it was all taken away from her by the evil humans. But
technically, her father was one of those humans, and in some case, she herself can kill him. Also, isn't she a human herself? So, doesn't that mean that we should hate Alice too, according to this game, saying that most humans are bad?
Don't you see, Jova? Maybe Alice is the human we need, the next generation.
Yes,
to learn respect and everything.
Oh, God. Look. Well, I appreciate that the younger generation is definitely better. I don't really care for stories that paint one generation as always being the bad guy, and the younger generation is being the Jesus spout. Like, and I'm speaking as someone who is part of the younger generation, and that, yes, you do know younger generation folk can be just as bad, if not sometimes worse, vice versa.
Okay, that's the thing, Jova. David can only work in extremes. Sorry.
Yeah, I kind of picked it up. So, question: is there more of the theme park that we could have explored before coming to this point, or did you look at all we could?
Not everything, but don't worry, it's not exactly important. The most important, like I said, Teo, technically this is not a Navajo situation, Teo, because even though it's badly written, it still doesn't work in the end. Technically, we are trying to strengthen the bond and character development of these two characters. So, technically, this does have a purpose. It's still badly written and doesn't work, mind you. But at the very least, he's trying, I guess, to get something out of this. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, Pedro, technically, you could argue the Navajo chapter was meant to strengthen the bonds between.
Not to mention to give some supposed lore about the spirits.
I guess too, but it doesn't come back. Go ahead.
Yes, Joe.
Anyway, you could technically argue that the Navajo chapter was meant to have her strengthen the bond between that supposed love interest of hers, the
God, what's his name? The Taylor Lautman of the game. Yeah,
let's call him that. And also, I guess, to strengthen the bond, since we see some of the people who can die later on, which shows that, she really bonded with them later on. So technically, this could be considered a Navajo equivalent, in the sense that only barely does it really constitute a point.
Yeah.
Because again, aside from creepy factor, and even still, not much scares here and there, what really does this accomplish? Maybe if they let us see, I don't know, all the theme park or whatever, but then again, it's just scenery porn at that point. It's like Kara's story suffers some plot stagnation and lack of us actually being warranted to give a crap about what's going on.
The sad part is that I can't.
Holy cow! Stuff your. You know what?
She's basically, I'm choosing to literally tell the story that we're literally going through right now, in a more romantic way. Again, I can.
Okay.
I can. Okay, there is a good idea here at the very least, from my perspective. I do like the idea of her telling her a bedtime story about and giving a fairy tale spin
it just
on
comes off as so preachy whenever David writes it. I mean, I get the intention.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem. It's a good idea in concept, but the writer writing it is garbage. So go on, Jova, you were saying?
Yeah, again, it's just so preachy. Almost every time David has a good idea, when he does have a good idea, he manages to ruin it by, again, making it so gosh dang preachy.
Personally, I find the Marcus storyline to be the one where all the preachiness is.
Oh, yes. But what I'm saying is, the way Kara retells that story felt so preachy. You get it? Slavery and all that.
Oh, hold on, Jova. Yet another moment where we just interrupt the plot.
She's a sweet girl.
For you?
Yes.
Also, are they trying to make Kara's plot like the horror story or something? Because there's been so many horror elements.
She's passing through the more traumatic stuff.
I guess, though. You think that would.
All right, Jova. Backstory for Luther.
Of course.
Okay. Oh, get it? Because he was an African American.
He weighs
so
16
he was
tons,
a slave.
and what you
got. Remember
another day older and deeper and deeper.
Jova. Remember the main message of this game, Jova. Every human is evil, especially white males. That's the basic message of this game. Especially.
Can David? Oh god.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
Can David just pick what he's trying to emulate here? Because he's trying to emulate slavery, the civil rights revolution, the Holocaust.
But don't you see, Monsieur Jova? I couldn't pick which allegory to use, so I just used all of them.
Go. I'm not going to deny that. All of those were terrible bouts done on humanity.
That's the thing, they wear in their own ways. Sorry. The plot is decided to come to us. I forgot.
It is a horror element. Go figure.
Actually, Jova, this is a kind of a subversion of that you're about to see. Hold on.
Let me guess, they're really nice, and they just want to help.
Very good, Jova. Have you played this game?
No. What I've watched is Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. But okay, yeah.
David, you're being outdone by fucking Scooby-Doo. I think it's time that you need to really rethink your career, buddy.
And your priorities.
What needs to happen is for a game of his to actually just bomb. Okay, Beyond Two Souls was kind of that. didn't bomb, but it sold a heck of a lot less than Heavy Rain.
Beyond Two Souls sold a little over 1 million units, which technically is not a bad sales number for normal games. The problem is that it's a AAA Sony first-party game, so obviously, considering the money that was spent on it, obviously it needs to sell more than that.
Oh, children used to love to come and see us.
The last few days have been difficult.
We have something to show her. Something fun. She'll love it.
So there you go, Jova. Basically, we're going to cheer up Alice.
Follow us then.
I guess this could be somewhat charming then.
It's that the creepy smile, the thing, the over smiling.
They're too cheerful.
The same thing.
Okay.
I mean, although in universe it makes sense. So they were specifically programmed for entertainment purposes like this, so it makes sense that they have to be that way.
Sure.
So also, sorry, Jova, no Foxy the Pirate cameo.
I just have one question though. Why did they feel the need to creepily crash through the windows to come to us?
It's anyone's guess.
Come through the door.
Setting, the fact that they're programmed this way makes it even creepier.
I know,
Yeah,
right? Like,
that
seriously,
too.
think about the implications. Does this mean that whenever they wanted to surprise the little children, they crashed in through the windows
Yeah.
of restaurants?
It was just for the sake of shock and surprise.
It's just one lever. It's just
Oh, that's
one
the problem,
fucking
Pedro.
lever.
When you do stuff just for the sake of
Teo.
shock and surprise, you
Te-
can make an arse out of yourself writing one.
Teo, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you're implying that David Cage doesn't know how reality outside of his own city or house works. But anyway,
Also, carousel.
yeah.
Very funny.
Okay. I mentioned this point in exactly the exact same scene as well in Shiro's playthrough, and I'll do the same here. I want to assure you, audience, that the only problem with not this game is not at all just the plot holes. Though yes, they are both numerous and a clear indication that David isn't thinking about what he's writing, or in the others as well, because even Connor and Hank's storyline has plot holes in it. The big problem with this game is not the plot holes; it's the fact that it's boring. It's boring.
And it's also very disrespectful to a lot of history.
Art. It's disrespectful to history and our intelligence.
But
You know what,
guys,
I'm gonna-
look at the carousel, how whimsy it is.
Honestly, Shiro, as far as I'm concerned, this thing isn't disrespectful to every single humanity. This entire game is constantly barraging us about how evil every human being is, especially white people. You
and
see?
also about how selfless and careless and like Jesus the androids are. You know what's a shame is that this could have actually been a legit touching scene. The problem is again the preachy overtones.
But Jova-
And once again, this is one of those chapters that is very scripted. Can complete almost 100% easily.
But Jova, wouldn't Django Unchained be a much better movie if Christopher Waltz's character was also an evil white slave owner? I mean, let's just make all the white people evil, because as we all know, they're all evil. You know, this is how period pieces work, don't you know?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. It also has a black character that kind of treats the slaves like shit. In that film, Samuel L. Jackson's character.
Yeah.
That's because, unlike David Cage, Quentin Tarantino is actually a good filmmaker. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So
David doesn't make films, Pedro. Remember that.
Sure. In his mind, he does. He may not admit it, but he does. Go ahead, Jova.
Also, I just gotta say this. So after the end of that chapter, what do we immediately cut back to Kara and company leaving, or do we learn what happened after that scene?
The next chapter, we're in a completely different location.
So yeah, that's another issue with that. You had a chance for a good scene, but then you just kill it right before it even reaches its proper conclusion.
Look at that. Another, mysterious Mr. Not Enter, but Kamsky.
Yes, aka the guy who originally invented the androids.
Do you remember we briefly saw him in one of the shorts talking about his androids?
He was
He had
declared.
a beard during
But
that
apparently
video.
he has been kind of retired. Nobody knows where he went.
Basically, he was declared Man of the Century for his invention. However, he left Cyberlife, and Amanda is now taking care of it.
I'm gonna tell you already, Jova, it's another red herring. Don't bother.
Yeah.
Yeah. This game seems to love red herrings. The problem is that a lot of those red herrings seem to come at the expense of actually
Don't
legitimate...
worry, Jova. We will meet
ideas.
later on Mr. Kamsky, specifically where he is and everything. But here's the thing. the game tries to very kinda hint that he has villainous motivation, but it's never brought up. And all the stuff that happens is clearly not tied to him. The closest thing you get is the quote-unquote bad ending, where you have Kara, Marcus, and eventually Connor die altogether, and you get an ending where Kamsky basically gets re-elected as the CEO of CyberLife.
Interesting.
All right, so let's have. So Ank is not feeling that well, so let's try to cheer him.
Yes.
Let's try and cheer him up, kind of.
You suck!
Please.
Wow.
Oh, come on, Dwebs, don't worry. Remember, Ank is starting to warm up to Connor.
Yeah, we need to be nice.
That will probably be David Cage's way of cheering him up.
You said I used to come here a lot before.
Connor, you saw the
Before the
picture.
accident.
You saw the picture of his son, Connor. Put one and one
Sometimes-
together.
Well, maybe he's asking for having him telling,
Can't assume everything.
You
either,
should
too.
stop drinking, Hank. Maybe. Oh, hold on. Personal question.
Personal question, Lieutenant?
Let me
Oh,
guess.
close
Let me
enough.
get. Let me guess. Why do you hate androids? Oh, okay.
It's because we care.
Yeah.
The suicide. Yeah. Why did?
Why? Why did you commit suicide?
He hasn't. I mean, he tried.
I mean, that's what.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Like I said, he doesn't have the guts to actually pull the trigger. Yeah.
Which is why he got drunk to do it.
Well, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad, Hank Senpai. Anyway,
I mean, could you imagine if Neil Breen wrote this game?
I don't know, Dubs. I'd much rather have Neil Breen write this game than David Cage. At least it would be entertaining.
Connor is right, though. The DVNC doesn't seem to have a pattern or anything.
Maybe
It's
it's
the ones that we checked.
The link is that they gained their...
RA9. Obviously, the link is RA9, so I picked it. God damn it, David! Stop throwing this terrible red herring at me. I fucking hate you
mean,
sometimes, you know.
Again. Like I said, the problem with these red herrings is that they come at the expense of...
Andrew's believing in God. Sorry, Joe.
The problem with these red herrings is that they come at the expense of legitimately cool and good ideas that actually would help the story out. But because David is so obsessed with doing some special routine, he makes it so that the red herrings ixnay stuff that would make more plot-wise.
If you want to see this element done
That's the
well,
bad kind of writing.
if you want to see this concept done well, play Nier Automata.
But they're machines. And machines don't feel anything.
Exactly.
I really love
Or
that.
Again,
do they?
Connor is determined about this theory.
You were saying what, Shira? You love what?
I love HFC's initial fake out where they were doing the introduction and they were making it seem like they were playing Nier and then they switched to this crap.
I mean, when you get down to it, this is kind of like a crappily done Nier Automata.
No, Connor, don't say that. The internet will be all over that.
Oh,
Connor, no.
It's interesting.
You got a friend.
So many fan
This is how
fictions started with
fanfiction
that time.
starts.
You
Yeah,
got a
exactly.
friend in me.
It's interesting you say that, Jova, because Yoko Taro is actually a fan of this game.
Yeah, he is, sadly. Well, keep in mind, he has his quirk, like I said. He's not perfect.
There's a video of a fan signing.
So yeah, Ank is basically... Ooh, Ank is confronting us with why we spared those androids.
Wait. So our affection went up, and yet he's
No.
putting.
You're going to see where this is going. Hold on.
Destroying me at this point would deal a blow to the investigation.
He's trying to...
Oh, and that made him... Probably should have said, yes, you are afraid to die.
Hank is trying to see if he can get some kind of human reaction out of Connor.
Android Evan.
Ironic.
There's a heaven for androids.
Deep's invisible fedora.
Sure you're not going deviant too?
Oh, God.
Just regularly. I know what I am and what I am not.
Uh,
Are you sure about
Honor.
that?
Basically, Dwebs,
Are you sure about
Honor.
that?
Basically, Dwebs, if you there you go, unlock the friend path for Hank. Basically, here's what happens: if you haven't been nice, if you haven't managed to establish a good bond with Hank, he will actually kill you in this exact same chapter. However, Hank realized that he just cannot do it. He's gotten to a point where he genuinely cares about us, so he cannot pull the trigger.
Oh.
And that's why the friend path is unlocked, because otherwise he would have killed us and then killed himself.
Actually, Jova, if you die in this chapter, Cyberlife will just send a different new model of Connor. But yeah,
It's possible for that new model of Connor to become friends enough with him to keep him from
still,
killing.
it is still possible, but it will be hard because you don't have as much time as you did from the beginning.
You cut out there. Could you repeat
Yeah,
that
can you
again?
repeat that, please?
What I was saying was, it's still possible to become.
Weird.
It's still possible, but it's going to be hard. You have to really
Especially, and there's the fact that Hank gets progressive. If Connor keeps dying, Hank progressively gets freaked out by the fact that new Connors keep popping up with the same memories.
I was thinking he'd get freaked out by just the second one if he killed the first one, since, it's like
Yeah, I
seeing
was
the
gonna
ghost
say,
of the
what
friend
about
you
the
murdered.
Because the original Connor did a lot for Hank.
It's odd. Well, that's the thing, Shiroi. Remember, there's practically every chapter of Connor has a possibility of him dying. So, and there's even a silver trophy for doing an entire playthrough where Connor always dies in every possible chapter there is for him to die. And Hank's reactions to the constant instance of new Connors every chapter is quite funny.
Actually, I would have liked it a lot more if he didn't get attached to the second one, because he got so attached to the original.
I would reference
I
Monster.
think that would more interesting.
I would reference Monster. I would reference Monsters Inc. again, but he already had a name before he met Hank, so it doesn't apply here. See you for the next part, everybody.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah.